I'm very pleased to be interviewing Howard Shimmel, who's Senior Vice President, Ad Sales Sports Research for Turner Broadcasting. Thank you for your time.
Oh, thanks, Charlene.
Let's start with your background. How did you get to where you are today?
I so I have an advanced degree in statistics from the State University of New York at Stony Brook. Go Wolves! And I actually started my career at Nielsen many years ago. Was lucky enough to get into Nielsen's cable business very early on. So I was working with people like Bob Sieber at Turner, Phil Schiffman at ESPN, some of the cable greats, while Nielsen's cable measurement was establishing itself. Then I had the opportunity to go to work for a media company, so I worked at Viacom for MTV Networks, still in the early days of cable when it was still an establishing medium, when agencies had separate cable buying groups from network TV buying groups. Ran sales research at Viacom. In the early days, I got to see Nickelodeon sort of emerge into the powerhouse network it is. The early days of MTV going from videos to long-form programming. Spent about 10 years at Viacom. And at that point, I got a little bit of a entrepreneur niche. So I went to work for Symmetrical Resources, which was a parent company of Simmons. At the time, we ran Simmons. We had a joint venture with MasterCard, so we were very early on in using other data to influence media decisions, and also ran their consulting division. That was sort of my chance to own a piece of a company and hopefully get rich and retire young and live the rest of my life on the beach. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. Spent about 6 years at Symmetrical when I had an opportunity to go work with another industry legend, Marshall Cohn. I had actually worked with Marshall at Viacom for a bunch of years, and Marshall called me up and said, "Do you want to come and work for a sleepy old internet company called AOL?" I said to Marshall, "It's great opportunity." And what was fun about that part of my life was it was a chance to actually live up as a marketing researcher, not a media researcher, which was most of my experience. And the idea of trying to solve problems that a brand has, AOL, how do you optimize the pricing portfolio that generates the most incremental subscription revenue? Because when I got there, subscription for dial-up was still a big part of AOL's business. So it was a great chance to sort of try something new, learn some very different research skills than we're trained to use in the media world. Spent about 5 years at AOL. I wanted to get my family back to New York, so I called up an old friend, Susan Whiting, and at Nielsen, and Susan was gracious enough to give me a chance to go there. At Nielsen, I had the pleasure of working with a guy who's a great partner and friend, Pete Doe. Pete and I were very early on in building data integration products. Pete's the smartest guy in data fusion, and we'll talk. I hope we talk about that later.
We will.
Got to help launch Nielsen's media analytics business. So one of the things that was sort of interesting about Nielsen is on the consumer side of their business, the side that supports Procter and Unilever and companies like that, they do a lot. It's more than just a data relationship. They have people who are actively consulting, and I think the desire at Nielsen was to try to replicate some of that on the media side, dealing with media clients like Turner and ESPN. So I had the opportunity to help launch that business. That was a whole lot of fun. But about not quite 2 years ago, I got a call from another industry legend, Jack Washlog. He expressed interest in me coming to join his group. And I thought to myself, the opportunity to work for Jack, the opportunity to work in the media company, in the media industry, where I don't think there's an opportunity for any more fun than at any point in my 30 some odd years and now, was just too great of an opportunity to pass up. So I've been at Turner 18 months now, and I'm having a blast.